hands up if you with it. Drop it.
Welcome back to the Petty Parlor. I am your host, Bree.
I'm Jasmine.
And today we are going to be talking about being, 30s with no kids, being childless women, child-free, very happy women. It's going to be 3 parts to this. So it's going to be 3 episodes, okay? Just because it's so many different aspects and it's long. But it's going to be split up. So first we're just going to be talking about being child-free. And then we're going to be talking about the people y'all are having kids with. My God, today. Mistakes were made. Okay? And then we're going to talk about some other aspects, PCOS and things like that involved with not having kids as well. All right? So, my first question is, did you ever want kids?
I did back in the day when I was younger, but that's just because I was raised to think that way. I don't think it was it wasn't a choice to think any other way. So that's where I was with it.
It wasn't out of your own desire to have kids.
Yeah, I didn't really understand. I was like, bro, have you seen kids? As a kid, I was around a lot of kids, and being the oldest, I was helping to raise my siblings. I was like, okay. But I didn't understand. It could be a choice till I got older.
Definitely a choice. I also used to think I wanted kids when I was younger, not because no one ever made me feel like I didn't have a choice. I just felt like if circumstances in my life were different, maybe I would have wanted kids. But as I got older, I was so glad I didn't have children. As time has gone on and the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad I don't have kids. It's so much work. And first I want to point out that no one that I know who's a good parent has ever made me feel bad for not having kids. They're always like, no, don't do that. Don't do it. Don't have them. Anyone who is a good parent. The people who are constantly like, you should have kids, are people who I'm like, you shouldn't have had kids. You're not a good parent. So I just feel like that applies to everything though. Anybody I know who's in a happy relationship, they're not like, oh, when are you gonna get married? Because they know what it takes to actually do it right. So they're
Misery loves company. So anybody in a miserable situation wants you to also
exactly
be in that situation.
Mm-hmm. So, I also was like, I don't know. Do you know where exactly the whole this discourse is recycled every 5 seconds? I feel like on social media, where people are mad at people who are happy that they didn't have kids or whatever, and the people who have kids are fucking furious at the people being happy. It's so fucking weird. But also, I'm just like, where did this recycle from? I saw one girl's video and I was like,
it just recycled from the song, because in his song he says 21 no kids, and so people took that little part of the lyric of Jeremiah's song and they did a dance to it, and then they put their ages or whatever. So they was just doing a thing, following what lyrics of a song say, like most people do. And that was it. And then people got mad about it. So then that's how it got traction, because then people started being ridiculous and trying to attack people for not having kids because they were dancing to a song lyric.
So dumb. It really should. First of all, being 21 with no kids is not even flex.
That should be normal.
That should be normal. That should be the standard. Y'all are
you're still a baby.
Having kids is 15 and 16. That you're making it seem like 21 is astronomical. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know we grew up with Teen Mom and all that bullshit, but 21 and up should have been our standard to not have kids. That should have already been duh. You just learned how to drink and do stuff and live your life as an adult. You should have a few years of adult living before you bring someone else into it. 21 is normal, okay? To not have children. Don't feel bad.
It doesn't make any sense that you guys are acting like that's, you know, oh, you're 70 with no children or whatever. Like, you guys are being super weird about that. But yeah, it's really wild. But there are a couple of things that, like, when people were responding, I mean, people are so upset with this woman. One thing I want to say is that, like, a lot of y'all will come at us in a way to be like, well, what are you gonna do? Who's gonna take care of you when you're older? And I just want to say that's not a good reason to have children. Like, that's, when you ask that question, you also let me know you should not have had kids, because y'all have kids in a way that's like, you don't think of them as little humans.
Predatory.
You have kids in a way that's like they're accessories to your life, as opposed to a whole nother human you are responsible for. And so when you say things like, who's going to take care, like, that's for you. That's a selfish reason to have kids. Y'all have kids without thinking about the quality of life that child will have. A lot of y'all are living paycheck to paycheck. You don't have anything going for you. You're not in a good and healthy relationship. You don't have a village or a family who could really help you out or anything like that. And then you live in America, just already strikes against you. So, like, you probably should not be having kids. You're not thinking about the quality of life of that child. I've never been in a position in my life where I felt like a child would make this better. You know what I'm saying? Like, not ever. Like, I've never felt financially, mentally, emotionally 100% stable in my life where I was like, can add a kid to this, I'd be able to provide them with a great quality of life. And a lot of you are not thinking like that. You're thinking about what that child will eventually become and then help you with. And they're probably going to become nothing. Y'all's delusions for your kids are wild. A lot of y'all think your kids are going to go to the NBA and be able to take care. That's not going to happen. They're going to be regular ass workers just like you, with paycheck to paycheck, just like you. And then you're going to be running around trying to burden them, talking about, you should take care of me because you're old and you think your children are your retirement plan, and they're not. That's a whole person.
Yeah, they're not. If you go to any nursing home right now, like, you can ask a bunch of the elders there and be like, how many times do your kids see you? And most of the time it's like, never. I haven't seen my kid in 5 years. I haven't seen him in this amount of years. Like, no, that's never been my plan for myself. It's always been for me to build community, not to build a basketball team. I hate that too. I hate that also. You know, oh, you're trying to have a little basketball team. Oh my God, that's fucking gross. Because why do you think I have friends of all different age ranges? Like, I got friends from up to like in their 50s, and I got friends as young as 21. Okay, someone gonna outlive me and gonna have to help me. You know, I have friends that are gonna do that care about me like family, and you also have family members as well. I got younger siblings. Like, that's who gonna take care of me. Like, if you really gotta know, or I'm gonna take care of my damn self. If I start seeing, oh, I'm slipping and falling or whatever, let me do something for my health. Or I gotta go to a nursing home, I gotta go to a nursing home. Like, come on now.
It's really not popping. There are some very nice homes, okay? Even though
I would rather have the choice than have my kid make that choice for me.
Them nursing homes are full of herpes. I don't know what y'all got going on in there, but them old people be out there doing it. It's just nasty. Anyway, they're great though. A lot of them, they're very nice. I'm using my 401k and I'm gonna put myself in a nursing home because, and this is another thing, when y'all say that, you let me know that you've never taken care of a parent or grandparent.
It is hard.
It is very, very difficult.
It is a lot.
It's not for the faint of heart. It's not something that if you had done it, you would feel comfortable burdening your own kids with that. Like, so that's where it's like, oh, you've never done this before, so you have no fucking clue what it's like. Being comfortable with planning to already burden your children when they're a child is nuts. Like, to me, it's super wild. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to have a 401k I'm going to use, you know, to take care of me, and that's what that's for. You should be really focusing more on your career and your savings instead of how your kids can eventually take care of you because you gave them life, which is the bare minimum. Like, That's not a reason for people to do stuff for you for the rest of your life. I gave you life. Yeah, no one asks you.
No one's obligated to do anything. No one owes you shit in this life. Learn that now.
So fucking annoying. But yeah, that's a terrible reason. It's super selfish to be running around asking who's going to take care of you. And then on top of that, a lot of y'all, you think that, like, and maybe this is your situation, but I feel like there are a lot of people who don't have like a big family or a big community that they have people who can take care of their kid for them or whatever else. Like, some people only have themselves, you know what I mean? And so if they had a kid, they're not going to have somebody that's trustworthy that they can be like, this person can babysit or do whatever and all that kind of stuff. There are tons of people who just don't have like any kind of people to assist them. And it's like, no one has to help you, but it's very nice if you have people that can, because you're not going to be able to be with your child every fucking day. And daycares are wildly expensive. Okay, they're about to they're dismantling the Department of Education, so a lot of y'all's kids, I don't even think are gonna be able to be in school. And I don't know what y'all are gonna do, honestly. But then, you know, you have to go to work because you have to make, you know, make ends meet and all that kind of stuff. There's gonna be stuff on the weekends. Sometimes you would like to go to the movies or do stuff or whatever. You're not gonna be able to do that if you have no one that you can trust to take care of your child. And the people that are just in the world by themselves and don't have that, why would they opt to have kids knowing they don't have any kind of, they say it takes a village. Everybody doesn't have a village. Some people are just so thin by themselves, you know what I'm saying? Big solo dolo energy. I have my mom. My mom would take care of, my mom is a nana, okay? Because my nephew be getting everything that he wants. So I have my mom and I'm glad for that, but she's it. Like, outside of that, there's nobody else out here where we live anyway that I could be like, oh, watch my child for me or whatever if I had a kid, which won't be happening because, my God. The world, it's awful, going worse and worse as time is going on. So you got to also account for that, right? Anything could fucking happen right now. So dangerous, especially if you are a young Black child. That's another thing I really don't be talking about. Black people have to raise kids differently than all these other races. The lessons that you have to teach your child when they're a young Black child is different than what you have to go to your children and say, you can't be doing the same shit those white kids are doing. Okay? They can act up and they can do all that. You will be in more trouble. So you have to go to your kids and tell them, like, sometimes people are going to be racist. There's no good reason for it. And you have to have those lessons.
They're very
with
hard
your kids.
Conversations.
They're terrible conversations. My nephew came out here to visit me the time before the last time he came out, and he was playing at this, you know, adventure park thing that he goes to all the time, and some kids called him the N-word there. He didn't tell me about it, so those kids were already gone. And luckily, another parent had heard about it and told the people that worked there, and they threw those kids out, which shouts out to them. It's called Urban Air in Gilbert. Shouts out to them. But for doing the Lord's work on those kids, those fuck-ass kids. But they also said those kids' parents were, you know, like that as well, because obviously they're learning that from somewhere. Right. But I had bought my nephew a season pass because it was the summertime to go there, and he was going there every day. That ruined that for him because he didn't want to go back after that. He still had like a whole 2 weeks left or whatever. But I had to have that conversation with him to be like, sometimes people are racist and terrible and assholes, and there's no good reason why those people decided to say that to you. And those are hard conversations to have with children. And you have to think about that, and you have to think about them being, especially young Black boys or whatever, like, don't do this, don't do that. And, you know, if you get stopped or the police are doing this, that all this kind of stuff, we have to have these conversations with our kids that other people don't have to have. So that's another thing. That's like, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. Also, I'd be tired. That's really a big reason why I was like, I didn't have no kids. When I get off of work, when I tell you, I don't want to do a motherfucking thing. Like, I just want to be asleep. As soon as it hits 5, I'll be in the bed immediately. When you have kids, you can't do that. You got to cook dinner. We can go get off work and go to, but she's still got to feed Nala. So, but we can essentially get off of work, go to bed or whatever time we want to. We don't feel like eating. We don't have to worry about that and all that kind of stuff. But you have a kid, no, they got to eat. They homework, all this kind of stuff. You have to do that and work.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much stuff.
Yeah, it's way too much. A dog is enough. This also that's my child, and that's enough. But it's easier, especially like she not gonna mouth me because she done got the same dinner she been having for the past 2 years. Okay, she not gonna be like, I want some chicken tenders tonight. Like, no, you give me same brown rocks. You've been getting same brown. So yes, it's annoying to have to responsibility sucks and period. But a responsibility of another human is a lot.
It's a lot. It's so much. And this is not that we can talk about in the other episode because just it's something completely different. But another thing, and this is just so I have a nephew. Me and my nephew are very much close. He's my best friend. Okay. I love my nephew down. I am an auntie, a professional auntie. I give him whatever he wants, essentially. I talk to my nephew all the time. He lives in another state. I live in Arizona. He's in California. But I think people really underestimate when they have not had kids, like your personality and then having children sometimes don't mix. Because me, I am very sensitive about my nephew. I've cussed out many a person over my nephew. I will be there immediately if anything is going on with my nephew. I will be in prison for the rest of. Listen, I love my friends, okay? I will throw all of them in front of a bullet train for my nephew without qualms. I'm sorry. But without qualms. And then people will say like, oh, it's just like, it's not like having pets. Having kids, having pets is wildly different because when you have pets, you buy them expecting that I'm probably going to outlive this animal. You know what I'm saying? They can't talk to me. They can't, you know what I mean? We have a relationship. I love them. They love me. However, they love me because I feed them and the like and take them on nice walks or whatever. Your kids, they're way different. Having children in your life is a whole different ballgame. You have to teach these children things and you have to mold them and shape them into decent people, which is fucking clusterfuck of epic proportions. But every time something has happened where my nephew is involved, and I'm already a person on edge, especially because of the world, right, is always in shambles, and these people have been acting up a lot lately. So I'm always like, when I go out, I'm like, oh, hope don't nobody say anything smart, and I'm gonna have to be, you know what I mean? When you have a child that is depending on you, you're even more, my anxiety is like fucking sky high when I'm with my nephew because my shoulders are up. I'm just tense everywhere because I'm like, if anybody says any fucking thing, I'm going to prison immediately. And so that having just like your actual like heart walking around in the world, hoping that people treat them right is terrible. Like, it's so awful because I can't even tell you how many people I've cussed out behind me. I scared my nephew smooth out of a tantrum. I cussed this lady out so bad right in front of him. And I am always ready to go to prison at any given moment. So those kind of things are also like things you have to think about. I feel like a lot of y'all don't think about enough stuff when you're thinking about having kids. I've had a lady tell me one day, she was like, oh, just have the kids, worry about the father later or whatever. I was like,
absolutely
bitch,
not.
what?
That's
so ass backwards. And I'm just like, y'all you don't factor in enough. You don't think about the kids.
It means a lot. You don't know, especially I hate saying breed, but whoever you reprocreate with, like whatever's in their family history and their genes, if they have a history of serial killers, if they got a history of mental illness, if they got a history of health, like y'all don't think about none of these motherfucking things when you're reprocreating. And then all of a sudden your kids coming all out with all these issues and stuff. And you're like, where did this come from? It's like, well, Did you ask the man that you slept with what his history was? What was going on? Now you got to deal with dealing with a child with special needs. My sister has special needs. It is not fucking easy. That is absolutely the hardest thing to fucking do. Like, So those types of things as well, like you don't know what's gonna come down the bloodline. So saying that you don't care about who the father is, who the mother is, absolutely crazy. You're 100% not ready to have any type of child, any type of anything around you. Like there's something mentally wrong with you.
Right.
No.
And the finances alone is enough reason to say it's a no. Because kids are wildly expensive. Everything costs $6 million, okay? Everything for kids is crazy expensive. And they're growing. So it's close. You got to get them.
You can't fault them for existing
all the time. They're eating. They got to eat 3 times a fucking day. Every day.
And you.
And you also will sometimes eat, but not all the time because you're a mom. So more than likely you'll eat maybe once or twice a day. Those kids will eat 3 times a day. I kind of grew up in a situation where my mom, worked like 3 jobs. So me and my brother could have nice things and live in nice places. And when I say nice things, just like a nice house, no kind of insects, no roaches, no nothing like that. We always lived in nicer places, nicer areas and stuff like that. But we didn't have like the newest, clothes, shoes, whatever, all that kind of stuff. But we had food in the house but I, growing up, knew that like, I don't want to do this myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have a child. Now, if I got married or something to somebody who had money, okay, and then I didn't have to work and I could just have a child that I was like, would I do that? It's a possibility. But even with that, you can't depend on them. I need some sort of guarantees on my end that like legally that I'm going to always be able to be where I'm at.
Yeah.
So unless I win the lottery, if I won the lottery right now, I know I could give kids a good life. So maybe that would be something that I would be inclined to do. Like I could adopt some children maybe and give them like a good life, a good start doing some stuff. But I'm thinking about the life that those children are going to have. They're going to become, those are people. They're people. Y'all are just having them and thinking like, oh, don't they look cute? Especially when you're like, oh, I want some mixed babies or whatever. It's not a purse, okay? That's a whole human. Like, and you're going to have them. You're a white woman. You're not going to have their hair.
With that, they don't think about the jealousy of it. Because then you have a kid that looks better than you, and there's a lot of moms that are pick-me women. These women don't come out of nowhere, and it's typically a pick-me woman that's going to have a child because that's the validation you want from a man, or you want to keep a man. So then it becomes a jealousy with the child. Now that child's growing up self-hating and having all these issues because you wanted a fucking mixed kid.
Right.
You're gross.
That is gross. It's gross behavior, especially if you bring them into a family that your family is racist. A lot of y'all, white women, have had kids with black men and procreated, and you knew your family was racist, and then you went and brought that black child around your racist ass white family, and they had to grow up and hear racist remarks from people that are supposed to love and care about them and take care of them. You don't know how to do their hair. You got them walking around looking crazy and just running around looking any kind of way or whatever. And then, like she was saying, y'all be jealous because your kids do look better than you. And then you're treating
like,
them
oh, that's your mom. I thought that was your grandma. Like now you butthurt.
Right. Now you would be mad at them or whatever and fight them or whatever and all that kind of stuff. And then a lot of y'all dibble and dabble in black men, then go back to a white man. Now this black child has a white stepfather who's treating them bad because that's a reminder that you were with some black man or whatever, and now they're mad. So y'all don't be thinking about that, but y'all all are acting like children are just little accessories to your life instead
like
of
you buying a ring.
That's not.
You can take a ring on and off, baby. It's some jewelry, but
these are your real kids. They're gonna be here the whole time. It's real gross behavior. So I'm just saying that if you want to be a parent and you really are, someone who's like, I can provide for a kid and give them a good life and blah, 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 by all means do you. I'm happy for you. I have a friend who just had a baby last year. But her baby just turned 1 and she wanted a child and didn't know she was going to be able to have a child for a long time. And I remember her not knowing if she's married, and all of the things. And I could not wish that on a better person. And I'm so happy that she has a baby, and I'm so happy for her. If you are that type of person, have the kids. I want you to, even if you're not that type of person, whatever, have kids. But don't turn around and look at people who said, I want to be sure that I want to have kids, or I don't want to have kids because I know I can't provide them the best type of life, and then try to shame them and make them seem like we're not enough because we're you just don't have kids, you just have it all, and then assuming people had abortions is wild work, because y'all been doing that too, which I saw online, and that's crazy.
Yeah, that's my whole issue with this thing. Is it wouldn't have been a problem, and it wouldn't have been an issue, and we could have kept it cute if other women weren't coming to attack other women. Like, that's very feeding into the patriarchy of this stuff. And you don't see the women with no kids coming at them and saying, well, you got poor pussy management, which you do. You do. Let's be fucking honest.
Poor pussy management is hilarious.
But coming after us and saying, oh, well, you can't keep a man. Oh, well, and then you got 3 baby daddies that ain't married to them.
Right.
Like, it's just wild for you to even come and say and speak on things and attack other women because of children. It's just very weird. Like, you're strange. So that's my whole issue with the whole trend of this. Is it wouldn't have been a problem had the women with kids not came at us in such a disgusting, disrespectful ass manner. Because, bitch, I don't sit up here and because the thing with the trend is nobody said I'm 21 with no kids because, like, and fuck all these women that have kids. Kids are the worst. It wasn't that. It was just like, hey, I'm living my life. I'm happy. I'm traveling. I have no kids. I'm happy. This was my choice, and that's it. I don't understand why y'all had to come for us. Don't come for people who didn't ask for you, okay? How about that?
No, it's ridiculous. Y'all were really wild. And then when you do that, it lets us know you're not happy, because you wouldn't feel attacked by that if you were happy with the fact that you had kids at whatever age you had kids. And now you're sitting around looking, anybody I know that's got a kid that's like not like, that's a good parent, whatever, they're not fazed by this at all. They're just like, yeah, that's great. These people did have kids or whatever.
And it just shows how small your world is and how uncultured you are, that you don't know people that are married and chose to not have kids. Right. That's their choice. That's what they want to do. Or people who got married, have kids, have a wonderful life. Like, to just not know that people can make that choice is crazy to me. So, yeah, I hated that. Like, for myself, when I was married, that was really, to be honest, the only time. That was the one time for me to have kids, and I didn't take it. And I'm glad I did. And the whole reason why that marriage did not work out was because I realized I didn't want to. It wasn't that I didn't want to have kids. It was I did not want to have kids with that man. And then I said, what am I with you? And I was like, well, what are the reasons I don't want kids with this person? And all those reasons were reasons why I shouldn't even be with that person. So that's why we got done. We were done. Okay? Like... but if I would have had kids with him, nobody would follow me. They would be like, oh, well, you guys were married, you did this, it looks like you did everything right, blah, 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 blah. But that's when I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. I have a choice in this matter. I don't have to keep going through this, marriage, being sad, unhappy. I'm not bringing nobody else into this as well. And that's what people were pressuring me to do. They're like, well, when are you guys going to... Like, I got that conversation as soon as I fucking got done walking down an aisle. It was, when are you guys gonna have babies? Oh, so what's next? Oh, da-da-da. It was the whole fucking wedding ceremony ain't even over yet, and I'm getting asked about kids. So that was just like, this feels a little weird. I don't know. Like, I barely even knew if I wanted to marry that man. And now you want me to think about bringing someone else into this? Let me see if I like him first. Hold on. So, no, that was just not. It was just not for me. And that was when I started to realize I did not want kids, period. Because then I started to realize what it would take. I was a Sunday school teacher for over 10 years. Preschoolers, okay? I've been around kids a long time. I raised up a lot of my cousins. Like I said, I'm the oldest of siblings. I have been around kids through and through and through. I probably if I would have had a kid, I'd have raised about 5, to be honest. The amount of time I've spent with children in my life, it's been enough. And I've seen all I needed to see, and I'm out.
Right. No, that's like really the story for like a lot of women too, because I also used to teach Sunday school. I was always babysitting. Some of the kids I babysat were
Baby kids. I've seen them all. I've seen precious baby angels to baby's kids.
Straight up. I babysat this one kid, and he had little twin brothers, and they were so sweet little angels. And that kid was like 10 years old, and he was like picking him up and tossing him into walls and shit. And I was like, this kid right here needs to be in prison. So it's been a lot. It's a lot.
And
oh my God, y'all are so dirty.
Gross.
Y'all just be doing stuff all the time. It's wild how gross children.
It is. I'm like, I be shuddering to clean up her messes, my dog's mess, a child's.
Children are so gross. And you know what's really gross? And I've been telling my mom this too, but she's like I said, she's a nana, so she don't be even phased by this. They drinking behind children. They are filthy. When I tell you, I do not. I would do it now because my nephew's 12. When my nephew was a baby, I do not drink behind my nephew, and this is why. Because my mom and I don't drink or eat behind him. My mom and his other grandma and everybody else, they'll do it or whatever, no qualms. I had a little tiny, one of them little tiny water bottles or whatever in the car. My nephew was in the car. He asked for some water. I handed it back to him. He was probably about 2 or 3 at the time. I handed it back to him. He drank some or whatever. He's like, here, auntie, or whatever. I took it back, put it down. I go to drink some, right? I drink it, something hit me in my lip. I look in there, it's a nickel in the water. And I said, thinking, you almost killed it. Because I'm keeping my eye driving while this is going on. So I was like, first of all, where did you get a nickel? How'd you get it inside the bottle? Because it was actually too big for the... And then I was like, so you must have shoved this down in here. But then also, I am driving. If I would have drank that, okay, I would have choked to death and probably crashed the car. Everybody dead now because you're up here playing these games. And I was like, I'm not drinking after this baby ever again. That was the last straw. I was like, because he's gonna kill us both. This is ridiculous. Kids are filthy. They're disgusting. And they're great. I love my nephew more than anything on this earth. But I'm glad I didn't have kids. I'm glad my brother had a child, so I don't have to worry about it. Let the line continue. But I'm glad I did. I'm really, really glad. When I think about my life now, I'm so glad that I never had any children. Because I'm just like, what would I have done if children were involved in this situation?
Yeah, no.
It's fucking awful. So if you're happy with kids and you're glad you had kids, I'm glad for you. But the people who are happy they did not have kids,
you should be happy for them too.
You should be happy for them too.
Let it be.
Everything else you can fuck right off. Okay, thanks. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for this first part of the conversation. We're going to do part 2, which is talking about y'all's bitter baby daddies. Tons of them. It's gross. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
See you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode. Bye.